Welcome to SpanReads, not your typical rereads podcast, a 17 shard series where we reread the Brandon Sanderson's works and are giant nerds about it. Today we are talking about Starsight. Joining me is Jessie.
Hello, I'm Lady Lameness.
Ian.
Hey, I'm your writer.
Eric.
Hey, I'm Cass.
And I'm Mish, or firstRainbowRose. Similar to our Skyward SpanReads, we will be doing full spoilers during these episodes. As such, this is our warning to viewers and listeners that there will be full spoilers for all Skyward novels, excluding Defiant, and the Skyward Flight novellas from this point forward. So, lore.
Lore. We got a lot of lore in this book. It's Skyward.
We were owed a lot of lore. Because we knew nothing in Skyward.
Yeah. So here we learn a lot about aliens and delvers and slugs and really the galaxy. Yes, very quickly.
We did get a lot of really juicy tidbits of background lore, like the stuff about the human wars and the allyship between the Figments and the humans in the first war or something.
First war, that's crazy.
Kuno just drops this stuff. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yep. The humans on detritus are so strapped for information. They know nothing because it all got bombed when they got crashed. And there's just so much information that the Superiority treats as
just common knowledge.
It's you can just look up stuff about old Earth on their internet
before it disappeared.
It's just a thing you can look up.
Yeah.
It's not even the humans are our enemies, we must restrict this knowledge. Nah, it's totally fine.
You can look it up. It's
Screw
fine.
those guys, those humans. Yeah. I kind of want to talk about figments because they're still really cool. Because figments are awesome.
Yeah.
They are really cool.
And I don't how are they sapient gas, but they are okay in space? And what's their relationship with tech? What?
They're a sapient cloud of particulates. Because they're specifically sentient smells.
Yeah, they're sapient
not
smells.
Sentient gases.
Yeah.
Which is a weird distinction.
Yeah. It's they must be bound together somehow, right? What?
I'm telling you, there's some weird Cytonic, they are the ancient delvers or something.
Yeah, there's gotta be some actual connection between Figments and Cytonics or AI. There's gotta be a connection there.
Otherwise, she wouldn't be so Vapor wouldn't have been so upset about it. There must be something there.
There's also the comment made when Kuna and Vapor catch Spencer with the drone. Vapor makes a comment of, this is old Figment technology, and it's the part that Spencer took from Mbot.
Yeah, that's another great point, because Spencer, I think, rightly assumed, when we'd get in the greater galaxy, we'd see tons of M-body things. And she was surprised that was not true, right? And so Mbot has Figment technology, but that's not common at all.
I wonder if, the Figment technology, I can't actually remember what part it was, whether that's the part that allows him to access the nowhere and run, Cytonic signals so he can do stuff faster.
No,
I think it's his hologram tech is what...
it was the hologram tech,
Yeah. He takes back, the sensory part from the drone. So, I don't know if that's part of it, but I was under the impression it was the hologram tech.
Yeah.
There's always the chance that other parts of Mbot are also Figment technology.
Oh yeah.
What if all of Mbot's actual ship was Figment technology, or just built by Figment somehow? That'd be crazy.
That's just I thought. Just thinking about the timeline, I'm just not sure when Mbot crashed on detritus, which human war. Obviously before the third one. Right? And if the Figments were allied with humans in the first war, I guess humans would just continue to have that Figment tech?
Yeah.
I guess. But I don't know. There's something weird with the relationship between humans, figments, and the technology that I'm like, I don't understand why we're so cagey about this, honestly. Like, what is going on here? I don't get it.
I'm really excited to learn more.
Yeah. That's very much in a reread. I was like, why didn't we get more Figment stuff in Cytonic? Like that's some really cool stuff here. So I want Figment stuff.
What else do we want to discuss about the lore and the tidbits that we get? And
Can we talk about the Delver maze?
I have a comment about the Delver maze.
Yeah, let's talk about the Delver maze.
Yeah, what's your comment, Ian?
Which is, there's writing in the Delver maze that is indecipherable. And it's like based on it's there in the training maze based on pictures from inside an actual Delver. What's going on there? Is it because obviously we learn in Cytonic that the Delver maze body thing is based off of like the floating orb sensory thing that the original AI used as a thing. What kind of writing is that?
But I thought the writing was what like the nowhere portals were.
Yeah, it's to do with the nowhere portals because it turns up on all of them.
Right?
But it's really weird because Spencer makes comments like at 2 different points. One of them was that the writing looked like the writing that was in the shipyard that fell in Skyward, which had the Delver training facility.
So that could be
attached to it.
consistent for sure. Yeah.
But then there's also she goes into a tunnel at one point and it just turns into a detritus tunnel that she went through as a child. That also had writing in it that she points out in the first book.
Yeah.
So I do still think it was weird in the first book and not telegraphed well because I think the way it was written in part 1 was weird.
Yeah, I think it's this book is trying to prop up what was in the first book and be like, oh, it looks the same. But I think you're right that the first book could have made it clearer that it was meant to be this type of writing. But yeah, it's just really weird that there's this writing inside the Delver mazes that came from the AI configuration, the whatever it looked like. But that's also meant to be a signal that that's a portal to the nowhere?
Yeah. It's
how does this fit together?
That doesn't make any sense to me. And also, how do you get dead Delvers? What?
Right?
Is Spencer correct? Do we think Spencer is correct?
I think it's a dead Delver. I am so convinced that is a dead Delver shell.
How do you kill a Delver?
I don't know.
I guess the humans did. Figment tech. Easy. Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah. Maybe what Spencer did with the whole showing them, breaking them off one by one. And then
it's just interesting because the Superiority clearly doesn't know that. That must have been a thing that humans had some specific weapon maybe to kill a Delver. And
I don't think it's a dead Delver. Because when Mortimer goes into the actual Delver, they point out, it's oh, most of these tunnels aren't real. It's mostly empty space in here.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Whereas, that's not how the maze... Now, I think whoever built the Delver maze knew a lot more about Delvers. There's definitely something weird going on with that Delver maze. It's not a mundane construction.
Yeah.
But, wasn't the Delver maze, it was physically smaller than the actual size of the Delver, right?
I think so.
Well, yeah, it's kind of in the middle of all of the rocks and debris.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to...
I do think the training maze was described as smaller than an actual living.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what if the Delver died and then the tunnels got closer together or something? I don't know.
Maybe.
There's a weird way to make it work. There's some teleporty shenanigans. It's connected with the nowhere. I don't know. It's possible.
That's a really good point, though, Ian, about like what Moriyama does say in the actual Delver. Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, if the training maze is like a construct of a Delver, if they don't have Dions there, and say it's like humans making it, because if someone made it, I'm going to say it's probably humans that made it.
Yeah, I think it says humans.
Definitely.
made
At
it.
least the superiority thinks that.
Yeah. Then they're probably not going to be able to tell about the whole like mostly empty space and fake tunnels, and just create the replica of it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, like humans went into Delvers, they thought there were all these tunnels, but there actually weren't, and they built the
they're
replica.
walking around in circles.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I
Sure.
don't understand the point of the heart of the Delver maze and the white room. I don't get it. Though I haven't read Defending Elysium, and apparently there's like some connection
It's
with that.
weak. It's weak.
Okay.
There is.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
a white room that Jason's in Defending Elysium. Yeah, and Brandon said that there was some relationship with that. Yeah.
Like, there's the white room at the end. That's just like the server room.
Yeah, I think that's
I
it.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what people are talking about.
Yeah. Rashara got that
But
one.
it's-
Yeah.
okay, like I can maybe rationalize that, given that this is an AI who was in love with
Jason.
Jason. That like that might have been like a formative memory, but like
I don't know.
I just, what was the point of getting there? Like, I know what the superiority we're trying to do by getting there, and then be like, okay, cool, we're in the middle of this thing. I guess we're sacrificing this person, though, to be able to move it somewhere else, like every
Sure.
single time. If they have to get to the middle of the Delver maze to set it off.
yeah.
But besides that, what's the point of the middle of it? I don't know.
Like, why does
I
it
don't
exist
get it.
for a Delver?
Yeah, like,
doesn't
why
come
do
up as
Delvers
iconic at
do it
all.
that way?
So then we can have a Star Wars, and so there's a center of it that we're going to, obviously.
I feel like that's the answer.
I feel like that is
unfortunately.
absolutely the answer.
It's the Death Star.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless like there was some sort of biological component in the center of like the original like sensory sphere.
That would
thing.
be pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, it
but,
is a lot of
that's-
biotech things. So
Yeah.
It's weird.
it's weird. I try not to think about that too much in the later books because I'm like, sure, okay, Brandon.
It's like I feel like the Cytoverse would benefit from Brandon writing annotations to explain
yeah.
what was
Yeah.
going through its brain.
It's like, what is this? What is any of this?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would agree with that.
Can I talk about the slugs?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Upon reading later stuff, we learn a lot more about slugs. But you know what isn't explained? How the slugs scream, but it doesn't bring the attention of the Delver on the ship that the slugs are on? What? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense at all. It didn't make sense in Starsight. I was all like, okay. But on a reread, I was like, Braids summoning the Delver was described as a scream. So like, how are the slugs being helpful? Like, what?
They scream and drown out the rest of the like.
But it's that like it's having the Delver look somewhere else. But the slugs are on the thing that they're trying to not look at.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
The
know.
other thing that doesn't quite fit is, why does Cytonics being on board interfere with the slug?
That's actually a good point. I didn't.
Yeah.
Why do they have to switch out the slug just because there's a Cytonic on board? Like, is it because, like, oh, now the Delvers will see the Cytonic, so we need a different slug somehow?
I think that's more the slug recognizes that there are other Cytonics on board and is like acting up, like trying to form a connection there. Like is like resisting like whatever they're doing. Okay, like this slug isn't working anymore. I want to say there's the technicians say something about like an emotional connection or something.
Ooh, I don't remember that.
I'm trying to
Like
remember.
some sort of connection is being formed between the slug and the Cytonics on board, which the Cytonics are not aware of, apparently.
Wouldn't they?
Why that doesn't apply to like all of the other slugs on board?
Well, and wouldn't you need to be a Cytonic to know the fact that your slug is misbehaving?
Well, like presumably it like in just the mechanism of getting the slug to do what you want it to do, like it just doesn't do the thing that it's supposed to do because it's not a machine, right? It's biological. So
that's fair.
It's not doing. But also, like there is a technological component to Cytonics.
Yeah,
like as we see in this book, there's the comment Kuna makes when Spencer says like she's not good at teleporting yet. It's like, oh, you still need like technological help.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also the anti-Delver weapon that's not a weapon, it's just broadcasting the signal, is like in Braid's fighter ship. There is no slug there. There's some sort of like technological thing broadcasting that signal on Cytonic wavelengths that Cytonics can read. Pure technology. And also like they can transmit that to the slug somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff's pretty weird to me. I'll be honest.
I think the slugs are the most confusing part of this book, and like how they're meant to work.
Yeah.
I have no issue with the premise that the slugs are hyper jumping because, like, I feel like that was foreshadowed actually really well, and on a reread is actually really obvious. With like Doomslug, that's fine. I have no issue with that. It's just why is this better than just a Cytonic doing it? That's the part I don't get here. Like something with the scream, but why does the scream?
I think it's that they the feeling that I got was that they scare the slug, and the slug jumps, so jumps to where they want it to go.
That's
so
true.
The scream is not about covering anything up. The scream is just the slug screaming in terror. And the AIs recognize that the slugs are not humans, so they don't hate on them. So they just see, oh, there's something moving through our space. Oh, it's just this slug, whatever, we don't care.
Well,
And
like,
then,
we do find out in Cytonic.
The Delvers are not aware of anything on that level. It's like anything below them is just insects.
That's true.
Though we do find out in Cytonic that at least the Doom Slug type slugs are very good at hiding.
Yeah, that
in
we knew.
The nowhere.
Yeah.
So maybe that does actually kind of make them more quiet when they like jump through the nowhere and the Delvers can't see them.
See, if it was described as, oh, the Delvers just can't see them and not a scream from somewhere else, I would have no issue with that at all.
I feel like it says the scream is there as a distraction.
Yeah, it does. It does say that. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah.
Or maybe it's just been some misunderstanding.
I feel like she would have some intrinsic understanding of because she does have intrinsic understanding of these Cytonic signals and things, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm just
also, if so, Brandon should at some point have said she was wrong and explained how it actually worked.
Then that would help. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, it feels like this series has a lot of reader inferences that can be made instead of like, here's how things work. It's here's some things about something and you make up your mind on how you think it works.
Yeah, it feels like what we're supposed to think is slugs, hyperdrive, important, need slug. It's like, okay, cool. Like that's about the level that we're supposed to be thinking about.
Yeah, like I definitely think the Skyward Flight novellas probably do a better job at being like, this is why the slugs are important, and this is why they are important in a way that Cytonics can't always be important because they're small and because they can help people who aren't Cytonics.
Yeah. One thing I do like, though, about the slugs and the superiority with this is how the general populace are like, oh, Cytonics, so uncivilized. That would be going back in time. And Spencer's like, it's the same thing, though. Like, you guys just don't know because they're not Cytonic, which I really liked that. Like, that aspect of the secret was very interesting, and I like the information control aspect of the superiority. Like, that's an interesting way to maintain control of a galactic civilization.
And like, the lie that Tanics are hyper poisonous, like, come alert us, we'll take care of any infestations.
Yep. It's good.
Like, I don't know if anyone's ever played the board game Twilight Imperium, but there is a race of lions that their whole thing is they control the galaxy through trade and import. And if you're able to get enough money, you basically can win the game just because you have so much control that way. It doesn't matter if people are even attacking you at that point. It's a very good strategy to hold people under your thumb.
Twilight Imperium is fantastic.
Oh my god, it's such a good game.
It's
very long, but it's such a good game.
So worth it.
I just find it interesting, the superiority and like their lack of aggression, but also you're not actually solving the problem necessarily. You're just pushing it away. So
I did actually find the quote of what's going on.
Okay.
Which, like, further affirms that there is some sort of Cytonic tech that is never explained. Which is, engine room, is there a problem? Yes, unfortunately, the reply came. We're reading Cytonic interference from localized sources inside the ship. Yeah. It's like, that's to be expected. We have two of them traveling with us now. It's going to cause a problem.
So there
seems like they have some sort of machine that's able to read the signals.
Presumably, maybe like those comm slugs. Maybe that's
maybe.
I don't know.
No.
Like, I'm in camp. Like, it's purely technological. Like, no slugs are involved with that.
Yeah,
because like there has to be purely tech.
Yeah.
Interaction with Cytonics for other things to make sense.
Yeah, that would be cool if like there was more of the technology brought into it, because so far it really has just been very organic because it's been the slugs going forward. But having more technology would be cool.
Except the figments. Figments have the tech.
It changes the playing ground because then people don't need to have like someone with Cytonic powers to do stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to Defending Elysium, the technology aspect was more of a thing in that book. Or novella.
Yeah.
I need to reread that.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I read it directly after reading Skyward for the first time, and never since.
Yep.
I read it when it first came out and was available to the public, and then haven't read it since.
I don't think we're going to do Defending Elysium SpanReads. That's not on the schedule, but
no.
Yeah.
I have never read it. Kept meaning to, and I just never got there.
It's dense. It's like actually pretty dense.
Yeah.
That makes me want to read it less.
Yeah, that's why I said it, for sure.
This goes back to my weird thoughts about Cytonic tech, which is that like MBot's trans-Cytonic processing.
Yep.
My design achieves this by using tiny Cytonic communicators, which pass signals at FTL speeds through my processing units.
Yeah, so like, there has to be a non-slug tech way of... right, of course. Yeah. Like, what does that mean?
Tell us more about that, how it intersects with organic Cytonics. Spencer is able to interface with MBot circuitry and have MBot circuitry indicate that the Cytonic hyperdrive is online.
Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah.
And it's not quite the same, but like we have the Figments who can integrate with technology, and then we have the Resonance in Cytonic who can also interface with technology. And it would be cool to explore that a little bit more and how they're actually able to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jancy, take all of these notes. Please watch this.
Thank you
If
for
you're watching this,
Jan.
tell us.
Thank you for watching.
We love you, Jancy.
Yes.
Fix all of this in
There we go.
Skyward Legacy,
There we go.
please.
To be fair, if anything, she's probably going to watch the Skyward Flight one, so we might want to save that again in the next one. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
But at least we will learn in our next span reads. We will at least learn more about the slugs and talk about them, and it makes more sense there at least. But yeah,
Cool. Any other thoughts?
I think we did it. We didn't really talk about the aliens, but like, we talked about the superiority. I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
A lot of the aliens were just like, here is an alien that looks slightly different. And then there wasn't anything else to them. Like, we didn't really get much information about them.
Mostly the Diones were like the one that we focused on in this book.
Yeah.
Which I think's appropriate. Like, it's not a long book. You can't go into too much detail on each one.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Or even like the kitten, but it's like, oh, the kitten of mini foxes.
There's not that much
What else is
explanation.
there really to talk about?
Yeah.
Like, okay, perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you for watching. You can find us at 17thshard.com for all the news, discussion, theories, and fun you could ever want. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud. You can leave us a review on iTunes. You can subscribe on YouTube. And you can support us on Patreon. See you next time.
And I think we'll do
Bye.
Skyward Flight
Bye.
next time. I think.
Bye.
Bye.